Hey, what's up? Hello. Welcome to Fantasy Filmball at TIFF. It is day 5? 5?
No.
Is it day 5? I think it's day 5. Anyways, it is day 5 of TIFF, and we are back on our first weekday of this. The road is back to normal. Festival Street is no more. And I am just on my way to the new Elliot Page movie, Close to You. I am late, as per usual. You're gonna notice this a lot in my morning videos. I'm always late in the morning. I don't like mornings. It's not my thing. But here I am, and probably gonna be 5 minutes late, but it's fine. This one, unlike the Holdovers yesterday, unlike Anatomy of a Fall on the first day, I'm not expecting this one to be packed. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but there's a screening of Next Goal Wins and a screening of Rustin happening right now. I assume that's where most of the press and industry is gonna be. So I think I'm probably pretty dang solid. All right, so, I'm tired. I didn't make it through the movie though. So I just saw Close to You, starring Elliot Page, directed by Dominic Savage. This is one of the films that I took on my film ball team. It was my final choice. And what I was saying when I picked this movie is that I really think that this could be like a bit of a sensation, a hit, where out of nowhere Page kind of comes and takes the race by storm. After seeing the movie, I definitely don't think that's possible. Page's performance, he is incredible in this movie. It's a nuanced, very subtle performance. But that said, the movie just doesn't give Page enough to work with. It's a very small film. There's not a ton of conflict. It's mostly internal conflict. Not much happens. It's a Canadian indie movie. That's just what it is. What I feel with this film is I think that this movie is going to show people that Page has the chops to take on like the role of a lifetime. This is not the role of a lifetime, but I think 5 years time, in the next 5 years, we're gonna see Elliot Page get something that is going to blow everyone away. That's gonna just flatten everyone. And when that happens, I do think an Oscar nomination or a win is coming. It's just not gonna be, it's not for this one. It's a solid film, but it's just small and slight. You know, I wanted something more, a little bit more conflict, a little bit more meat to the whole situation here. And it just doesn't quite have that. But anyways, I am now going to go get a coffee so that I don't drink coffee normally, but I need something to stay awake. Holy shit. And do some work, and then I'm gonna try out some industry stuff. Kidding, I'm not going to an industry talk. I am gonna go see a Canadian fantasy movie called The King Tide. So that's gonna be fun. Didn't expect the industry talk beside the Spike Lee thing to fill up, because there's also a Spike Lee talk happening right now. Thought that one would fill up, but I did not think the getting your short scene would get booked up. But it is. So it goes. And now I just watch one extra movie. Side note, it's crazy how fast things change here. Like 12 hours ago there was a concert here. What? Things move so fast here. TIFF the first weekend and TIFF the rest of the week are like two different experiences entirely. Like now this just feels like a normal place. Cars are going through. There's not like huge amounts of foot traffic. It's like a normal environment. But the first weekend, it's fucking crazy. Like everything's shut down. There are no cars. You can barely walk. But today and for the rest of the week, this just feels like it does any average time. It feels like I'm just normally going to see a movie. Now there's gonna be really long lines and stuff, but that special sauce, that special something that makes it so busy and so energetic and lively around the festival atmosphere, it disappears by Monday. And so now here we are on Monday, and the good movies keep coming, but the festival environment really isn't here, which is very interesting because there's still a bunch of premieres happening. Like the Holdovers is premiering today, Rustin is tomorrow, Naiad is tomorrow, fucking LOL, Naiad. There's still big things that are gonna be happening for the rest of the week, but you wouldn't feel that. You really wouldn't feel that. After the first weekend, it feels like the fest is not over, but over. Like seriously, compare this to yesterday's videos. And there's just no comparison. It's crazy. Okay, I just got out of Canadian indie fantasy movie, The King Tide. Honestly, this one, while being maybe the most beautiful looking movie that I've seen at the festival, was just not that interesting in other ways. I don't know, I didn't find the story to be that compelling. I found it just a little bit dull, even though it had a very cool conclusion and cool concept. I just found it to be dull. I don't know, there was a missed potential or something there. It was fine, but yeah, just found it a little bit boring. But now I'm going into my most anticipated movie of today, at least one of my most anticipated of the whole festival. I'm going to be seeing Alexander Payne's The Holdovers. This is a public premiere. Yesterday I got shafted out of the press and industry screening, but honestly this feels like a movie that's meant to be seen with public screening. So that is very exciting to me. This is going to be a blast. I got good seats for this one.
Alexander Payne.
Good afternoon, and thanks for taking time out on a school day and work day to come see a movie. But that's the whole deal, and why I'm always so lucky and privileged to play Tiff, because I just admire so much. I admire how much cinema is woven so profoundly into the cultural fabric of Toronto. And for my money, I think Toronto is the Paris of North America. So it's just grand to be here, and thanks for having me, and thanks to you, and thanks for Cameron for inviting the film. My thanks to my friends at Focus Features and Miramax for helping get me in the picture here. It is, of course, heartbreaking that the actors and screenwriter can't be with us. I told Dominic, the young man she was talking about, that unlike musicians and stage actors, in film we don't get to have that immediacy of communication between us and the audience. Obviously what you see is work we did months or years ago. And the only place we can kind of get close to that is at a fresh festival audience, and they're sadly being deprived of that.
All right, so I just saw The Holdovers. It was wonderful. Maybe my favorite of the fest so far, if we're not counting Hundreds of Beavers, which is not part of the fest. Where to begin? I love the films of Alexander Payne. I think that he is a master of melancholy, and he started off the show by his introduction. He basically said he spent his whole career trying to make 70s movies, basically recreate his favorite films of the 70s. And here, I think he took it a step further. This is the most Hal Ashby thing he's ever made. It's very like Harold and Maude being there. It's drenched in the music of Cat Stevens, and it's just a really, it's a beautiful story of loneliness and melancholy and finding connection. Honestly, it was just a beautiful, beautiful film led by great performances. Paul Giamatti is wonderful. My highlight of the film is Divine Joy Randolph. I very much very, very much want her to win Best Supporting Actress this year. She was incredible. She moved me to tears on a couple of occasions here. Her role is, I think, the heart at the core of the film, and kind of sums up everything it's trying to say. This is a movie that really speaks to a feeling a lot of people have, I think, about the holidays, where the holidays are supposed to be this time of joy, where you can connect with people and be around people you love. But that's not the reality for a lot of people, and a lot of people hate the holiday season just because you feel more isolated than ever when everyone else around you is feeling that connection, feeling that togetherness, and you feel completely alone. That's what this movie is to me. It's about that feeling of being left behind, that feeling of being left out when the whole world keeps moving. How do you deal with those feelings of sadness? It's a beautiful movie, incredibly funny. That said, I don't know if this is going to be our People's Choice winner. In previous years, films that I've seen as like People's Choice contenders have had like ridiculous amounts of applause afterwards, a standing ovation. I can say I was in the room for The Fabelmans last year, and at that premiere, there was an instant standing ovation. Everyone up on their feet right away. The most enthusiastic response. Women Talking, the exact same. Hit the end, directed by Sarah Polley. Everyone was on their feet, applauding, going crazy for the movie. That did not happen here. And in past years, I felt the same. I can't speak to Belfast. I don't know if it was the same in Belfast. I know everyone kind of walked out of Belfast going like, is that really going to be our People's Choice winner? So I can't speak on that one. I saw a press screening of that. But Jojo Rabbit, that was another one where afterwards the energy in the room was like, that's a People's Choice winner. That's got to be a People's Choice winner. I don't know if I felt that for The Holdovers. It's a great film. I think it could win. But I didn't feel the electricity that I typically want to see in something that I'm gonna believe is a prize contender here. I think it's gonna place top 3, but I don't know if this is a winner. I want to see a more enthusiastic audience. All right, it's night now. I did not just go see a movie after The Holdovers. I was responsible, and I went and sat down, and I got work done. Be proud of me. Please be proud of me. I also quickly went to a little quick networking party, and then I went, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna get out of here. No idea who is coming through the red carpet right now, but it looks like people are waiting for someone. Who? I don't know. Who knows? But anyways, I am off right now to see the Royale Hotel. This one I've heard mixed things about. I know a few people who really loved it and a few people who really, really didn't. I think that I'll like it. I liked The Assistant from Kitty Green, and I'm definitely very excited to see this one. Now, that said, seeing this movie is risky because it is a 9:30 show. It's going to end right after 11. And then I hope to attend a sold-out screening of Aggro Drift afterwards. But I'm going to be joining the rush line for that movie at around 11:15 to 11:20, maybe even a little bit later, which means I'll only be in the rush line for like 40 minutes for a sold-out screening of a very anticipated movie. I have no idea if I'm going to make it into Aggro Drift, and if I don't, my deepest apologies to Mr. Dylan. Back at my fucking nemesis, Roy Thompson Hall. The worst fucking venue. I guess there's a red carpet thing happening right now. I don't know. Anyways, on my freaking way to the Royal Hotel in Roy Thompson Hall, which again, I'm gonna show you guys my shitty ass seats this time. I'm gonna be looking at the screen like it's a fucking iPhone in the distance. It's my biggest pet peeve with TIFF is that sometimes your seats are just so high up and far away that like you might as well be watching the movie on a phone. All right, I'm in. I have a bone to pick with this place. This venue has such ridiculous security. It's like, I have a tote bag because if I have to come to a show here or Princess of Wales, so I have to carry around a freaking tote like a fool because I can't wear a backpack because I wouldn't be able to bring it into a large chunk of the screenings. So my shoulder is just not having a good time, and I'm carrying a laptop in a tote bag. I got so many bones to pick with this place. Why is your security? Why? Why is it like that? They got the up music playing. They're trying to make me cry right now.
Welcome to the new film by Kitty Green, The Royal Hotel.
There's like 100+ people in this Aggro Drift rush line. I doubt I'd make it in. I'm gonna start looking for other. We're gonna start looking for other options for when to see Aggro Drift because this does not look promising. But that said, I did just see the Royal Hotel, which was excellent, very good thriller. Thriller? I wouldn't call it a thriller. Just a very solid follow-up to The Assistant. It's another very low-key movie where not a whole lot happens. It's more character-driven than anything. Julia Garner does an amazing job, and Kitty Green is such a fascinating filmmaker. She's got so much. She's so interesting to watch. She feels like an old school auteur in how she kind of frames subjects, how she kind of approaches subjects. It's not what you'd typically expect to see in a movie, and to go into something like The Royal Hotel, which is billed as a thriller, and for it to be just a very low-key drama, it's very interesting. I was definitely a big fan of that one. It's also probably one of the best looking films of the festival. Good day for movies that look really interesting. But yeah, take bets. Am I gonna make it in to Aggro Drift tonight? Probably not. If I don't, it's fine. I'll figure out another time to see it. Thank you. Aggro Drift. Okay, here I am in my half moved out apartment. I just saw Aggro Drift, and Dylan, I am so sorry to tell you, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I respect it a lot, actually. Let me just start off by saying I respect the hell out of this movie. For me, a 1 out of 10 movie that like I just vehemently hate, a lot of the time I have more respect for that than like a 4 out of 10 movie that I'm just like, nothing about this was good and there was nothing special. It was just formulaic and boring. Aggro Drift took massive swings, and I respect the massive swings. You know, when something tries something really unique and it doesn't work, I respect that a lot more than something that's not trying anything at all. That said, I do feel like every single thing that this movie was trying failed. I don't think a single thing about this movie worked. It felt, the Neil Breen comparisons that I've heard really make sense. This does feel like a Neil Breen movie. It is comically bad. It's just characters repeating over and over, I'm the best assassin in the world, as they don't do any assassin things, and you just watch people bounce their asses up and down in infrared, and you watch a dude in a skeleton costume with shitty TikTok filter wings humping the air over and over. It's like, I've heard people describe the movie as like almost like a fever dream video game, but if this was a video game, it would be one of the worst video games that you've ever seen or heard of. Yeah, nothing about this works. In my mind at least, but it takes swings, and I do respect the swings. That said, to me, experimental film, it's very interesting because sometimes experimental film will like push the boundaries of cinema, introduce new ways of doing things, and sometimes experimental films like this one show why certain things are never done. And to me, this was just like a great example of a movie that proved why
no one makes movies like this, because no one should make movies like this. Anyways, I'm very curious to see what Dylan thinks on this one. I do not think Dylan will like it, but if he does, that'd be interesting. We'd have something to talk about. Anyways, that's the end of today. I'm being a little bit quiet because it's 2 a.m. Anyways, I guess I'll just have to see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to be seeing Hitman in the movie. Hopefully a much better assassin movie than this was. Dear fucking God. All right, anyways, thanks for watching. Good night.